Welcome back! Witajcie ponownie na Intel Extreme Masters Katowice! We just had an amazing game. Two Terrans clashed against each other. Podobało się? I can see there are more and more of you. I can't believe how many people are still trying to get inside. Let's make some little noise for the people who cannot get in, who are waiting in the biggest line I have ever seen in my life. Zróbmy troszkę hałasu dla tych, którzy próbują tu wejść, którzy czekają na to, żeby dostać się tu za środka, poczuć tą atmosferę Intel Extreme Masters. Are you ready for another StarCraft 2 match? Do you know who is playing next? I'll present you two wonderful players. First one, Daisy. Big round of applause for him. Jesteście gotowi na drugiego? Wiecie, co macie zrobić? Nerchio! Okay, guys, thank you very much. Daisy, how do you feel coming against audience favorite? How do you feel playing against Nerchio?
Too much people. It is make really exciting.
Thank you. Artur, what do you think about your opponent? How are you going to do?
I don't really like to play against his style, but I will try my best so, you know, people have for somebody to cheer until the finals.
Okay, słuchajcie, Nerchio zrobi co tylko w jego mocy. Thank you guys, good luck and have fun. Brawa, brawa dla nich. A my oddajemy głos ekspertom. Let's get to our experts.
Here we are with our next PVZ and our next Polish player.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see how loud it gets in here.
This time, the Polish player is on the other side of the matchup. Mana is in Protoss and Nerchio is there. So, gonna be a bit different. I guess the crowd still really wants one of the Polish players to advance to the next round, obviously. But he's gonna have a tough road ahead of him because Daisy is in a great shape. He's been playing so good these days.
Yep.
I was talking a little bit to him before the tournament actually started, and he was telling me that he stopped laddering and he mostly practices custom games on NA against Korean players because he lives in Europe. And I don't know, I feel like his game has stepped up a lot. His builds are very refined. They've always been, but now more than ever. And since we have Daybreak as first map, I wouldn't be surprised to see something very clean and well prepared by Daisy. A build, just as I said, very refined, where he goes for maybe some kind of pressure or a third, and everything follows up what is opened with just very cleanly, you know, like +1 finishes, you start +2. It's definitely in Daisy's reach, strategy-wise. QXC, do you know?
Man,
you know about Daisy at all in PvZ?
My voice is hoarse from that TVT.
Yeah?
So...
You were screaming a lot? Or
I was just so excited.
Yeah.
My voice is done because I'm actually quite sick.
I'm not actually... I'm not
medicated, and the only reason I'm honestly not on the floor in the fetal position praying for death is because of how excited I am for these games. So apologies for me always clearing my throat and not being able to yell.
I don't know
okay,
what I haven't really seen a lot of Daisy's PvZ. I've played him at TVP a couple of times. He usually favors Colossus and kind of late game play, but that's like a PvT thing, so I don't know if that really translates.
I remember a while back he was doing a lot of immortal pushes, but I feel like now he's mixing it up a lot more, and to be honest these days I haven't seen as much of him us back to a couple months back, you know?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say exactly. From the first game, we're exactly going to see how he plays in this matchup right now. And it's going to be much easier to narrow down exactly how this might turn out. Nerchio, on the other hand, who we just saw on the screen here, he has much more of his own style, I guess you could say, which is pretty much standard. Like, he changes a few things. Sometimes he's greedy, cut corners.
Right.
He goes for only 2 Zerglings, but other than that, as far as I know, it's pretty much standard. He would always try to go for roaches, into infestors, into broodlords, with just some good macro. But he has very good decision making. That's the thing about Nerchio that makes him so strong.
Yeah, I wonder. I don't feel like any of the players really here have been. They don't seem very affected by nerves or by even
Everybody's very
the
experienced.
crowd. Really, yeah. Everybody seems to be playing quite good, and the games that they lose, it's not usually like a nerves thing. It's not like, oh my god, like I missed micro and like everything exploded. It's like the games Kass versus Lucifron were mostly build order kind of strategic things, which usually is not something that would be affected by nerves. Like, you go into the game, you're like, I have my strategy.
All right, well, the players are in the game. We're ready to go. We're going to throw it over to Kalaris and Kaldor. New duo for you. Have fun.
Thanks very much, guys, as we have another fan favorite here. I am so excited for this series.
Yeah, so am I. The arena is already shaking. Poland is cheering for Nerchio, but he's up against a strong opponent. We have him up against Daisy in the ZVP.
Yeah, Daisy, very strong indeed. He was able to take Vortex out 2-0 in the group stages, which is so impressive. We are now loading up onto Daybreak here for game number 1, as spawning up to the top right-hand corner here currently, as are Red Protoss. Poland, give it up for ESC Daisy!
Daisy to the top right corner, and at the bottom left in blue, we have the Polish player, we have Asus Nerchio!
Can't argue with that crowd.
No, you definitely can't argue with them. And there we have him on screen, the Polish player. Yesterday, he lost a few of his PVZs. Now he's up on Daybreak against a strong and tough opponent who took down, as you already mentioned, a couple of Zergs in his own group, trying to get his hatch first out here. And this is just such an intense battle. We've seen Mana play earlier, and this was such an exciting best of 3. Then suddenly Kass just killing Lucifron, and now our third best of 3 of the day.
Yeah, really, I mean, I have to come back to your TLO Mana series that you guys got to cast. I was a little bit jealous, sat in the crowd myself listening to it, although actually once the crowd gets fired up for the Polish players, I can't hear a thing they're saying.
I can't even hear my own thoughts when they are suddenly getting going. This is crazy. IEM Katowice was just a blast so far, and it's only getting better. The last few days have been amazing with you guys, and I feel like today and tomorrow we're just gonna kill it.
Yeah, the crowd here, phenomenal. Guys, give yourself a round of applause. You've been awesome all day long. Jeez, so good.
Well, coming back to our Protoss versus Zerg, we had these two players facing off against each other 2 times already in best of 3s. Both times Nerchio was able to win it with a 2-1. They met in May last year, and they also met in December, actually in the qualifier for this very tournament. And Nerchio won the series against his opponent, so they know each other. They played a couple of games. Daisy, as Todd mentioned, changed his practice style a little bit, is practicing a lot of customs these days. So we will see how this affects his gameplay, and if he now can finally beat Nerchio, or if the Polish player takes the series and advances to the next round.
And as Nerchio said in that pre-game interview, Daisy in the European scene has been there for a little while now. He's had to play against him in a lot of weekly tournaments, etc., and he's not a fan of going up against Daisy. It can be a little bit dicey here. Daisy's just going for that standard opening here, but he has a lot of very aggressive tactics at his disposal. He can go for 4-gate Warp Prism assaults into a big 2-base play that are absolutely devastating and very Daisy trademarked.
And you know, Daisy is in his best matchup here by far. He has a 62% win ratio in this matchup, and he was just killing nerds left and right yesterday. Golden with a 2-0, Paranoid with a 2-0. If you go down his match list, he eliminated Vortex. He took down so many Zerg players. It is incredible. This guy is just so good, and I can completely understand that Nerchio doesn't want to play him. It's a very uncomfortable opponent to face.
Yeah, indeed. We have now Nerchio. He needs to be able to scout out this +1 that's going down here from Daisy. It might not mean a whole lot in just a little bit, but that robo facility is on the way as well for Daisy. So depending on when he gets those gases, like that one right there, that Nerchio has actually just seen, it could be a very good tell.
You know, Nerchio sees the gas, but he doesn't see the robo. He does not really know what kind of tech choice Daisy is going for. And on a map like Daybreak, of course, you want to know about the +1 attack upgrade as soon as possible. You want to know if there's a parting style immortal push coming your way, if your opponent is going a different tech tree, trying to take his third base, maybe even go into a Stargate. We've seen this opening on this map. Scouting information, so important for the Zerg. And at this point, Nerchio doesn't really know a lot.
He doesn't. He's knocking down a few more gateways. Here is Daisy. So, well, to be fair, he could easily go Warp Prism here and go for what I was saying before. It's very, very Daisy-esque, and there you go. Yeah. There's the Warp Prism 4-gate aggression that I've seen time and time again from Daisy that he makes work so well.
It's one of those builds that you can use, but you have to do damage with it. You really need to do some damage. There's so many Protoss players are trying to find new openings, how they can pressure a Zerg player. If you start with a +2 aggression with the Warp Prism, you have several choices. You can follow it up with a great attack, but you can also just try to take your third base, get the Twilight Council behind it. It's all a question of how much damage do you actually do. And Nerchio, can he prepare for this? We have him with the Xel'Naga Watchtower. Overlords everywhere on the map, and talking about the Overlords, look at the Warp Prism, heading right towards one of them.
As Apollo rightly said, it's like throwing a dart into a sky of balloons here, as for now Daisy's trying to evade as best he can do. He actually gets through it, a pretty safe spot, but warping in a few units here. We have 16 Zerglings on the way, as well as the Roach Warren for Nerchio.
Nerchio has seen what's going on here. Oh, unfortunately by Daisy, he doesn't complete the warp in and then has to open up the Warp Prism again. But Daisy already with the Twilight Council, going into this build that allows him to take a safe third base. Nerchio with the Roach Run a little bit late. Here come those Zerglings. The +1 attack upgrade for the Zealots is done. An attempted surround on those sentries. The force fields are decent, but not good enough. Here comes Nerchio trying to defend, but Daisy with another round of warp is in the position that he can push Nerchio back a little bit.
Those +1 Zealots doing a lot of damage here. He has a position now where he can actually force field that ramp if he so desires. He's actually just going to try and march up in there, and the Zerglings coming out once again. Speed finishes up for them as well, but they go up against a huge wall of Zealots there, dealing so much damage, getting a really cost-effective trade. Oh my god, at the unit's lost tab, Nerchio is taking so much damage to this.
Nerchio is taking way too much damage. He doesn't have the roaches just yet. 20 additional Zerglings are coming in. One sentry saved by Daisy. He saves his Warp Prism with 2 hit points.
Oh, that was a big, big save there from Daisy, but he can't fly back in really too far to actually go for that engagement. Once again, the Zerglings finally clean it up for Nerchio. He's pushing Daisy back. Daisy's going to be forced to retreat pretty soon.
Nerchio's moving in again. He's getting those additional units out now. His +1 armor upgrade is nearly completed. He has an infestation bit. We see him with Passaging Glance getting those additional Queens out once more, whereas Daisy is back at home just getting additional production buildings. He's going for Immortals, and here comes another warp in for the Protoss player.
Oh, this is really, really strong here by Daisy, but that supply lost tab, even that resources lost tab, he's evening up slightly. He's going to lift into the main. Does he have any potential force fields to go for? No, he does not. Meanwhile, Nerchio, I believe he's pretty much scouted out everything. As for now, we still have Daisy here, putting on the pressure. He's having to evacuate with his Warp Prism once again because of the threat of those Queens. Microing it back here, trying to keep that Queen alive. He needs that Queen, but the Stalker comes and kills it off. Roaches are on the way for Nerchio to clean up.
What a battle between the two of them, and Daisy still making this Warp Prism work. Only 2 hit points, but the shields are up again. Here come those Roaches. We have Infestors on the production tab. Blink nearly done for Daisy, and Nerchio doesn't even spread creep at the third because he's so occupied he can't do anything. He's focusing everything on this defense, and finally he pushes the Warp Prism back, but Daisy, he's just gonna move in again, and another warp in, and he has so many additional warp gates now.
Yeah, well, especially with the blink and +2 now on the way. Once that blink finishes up, that could be pretty catastrophic here for Nerchio, but he does have those Infestors on the way, throwing down some Infestor turrets. He's trying to keep back all of this. There's not many Zealots left. He has a lot of DPS trying to burrow the Spine Crawlers. This is so close between these two players.
What a great funnel here by Nerchio, and at the same time this Warp Prism microwave Daisy is just incredible. Once again, Daisy with another round of attack. He's committing so much to this, but the Infestors, they are giving him a hard time. The Spine Crawlers are there to defend the main base. More Queens building, 3 at a time. Additional Spine Crawlers, Roaches everywhere, and Daisy, he just doesn't stop.
That Warp Prism is just about to die. One more shot and he goes down. Nerchio Nerchio here stops the reinforcements. All he has to do is clean up these zealots, clean up that one stalker, and then he should be able to stabilize the roaches dancing around. He needs to keep these infestors alive as well. One of them does go down to that zealot there, and Nerchio now all he has to do is clean this up and stabilize from that point on.
Nerchio misses the transfuse for the infestor. The queen just had enough energy, just barely, but he could have done it. Doesn't realize it, doesn't see it, and the infestor goes down. Daisy with a lot of damage done here, but in general better for Nerchio here. Suddenly on 100 supply on 3 bases, a decent drone count. He has the infestors in the game, going now for the roach speed, for Boro, for all these additional upgrades, and of course droning hard.
Yeah, and there's not been any probes made for a while here from Daisy. He's getting that warp prism. He has 4 immortals to go for that big push here if he wants to do so, especially with +2 weapons on the way as well. Nerchio's trying to prepare in response.
Yeah.
He's seen everything that is going on pretty much. He's moving out to the middle of the map with these infestors and roaches. He could lock a lot of this army down and stifle this push for quite a long time.
Nerchio is now in a situation where Daisy is apparently taking his 3rd base, and Nerchio can't really break that down. Of course he wants to have a look there, trying to maybe get a shot, but he sees the army and he knows about all these immortals out there. There are 4 of them, so this is way too much. With good force fields, Daisy can do so much, and he realizes that he doesn't take the Nexus just yet. He's moving out, he knows about this huge army for him, and he blinks it! He takes down 1, 2, and 3 infestors. The Observer with a high ground vision, so important for him.
And he's going to blink forwards once again, chasing down these roaches. He knows he can do this. Nerchio cannot turn around and fight at this point, locking them down with 1 infestor. That was a nice little move, but he constantly blinks forward, trying to focus down one of that weakened infestors. Does get it, gets 1 or 2 more roaches for his troubles. That is so much firepower that Daisy has right now. He has a few more Zerglings as well as infestors on the way. Clear and Constitution finishes up, +2 armors on the way. Daisy's taking a 3rd behind this, so this is by no means all in.
But this is such a strong push. The Warp is in the main base. Daisy with an incredible multitasking here, going now for this attack at the front with so many immortals. With the force fields that he has, he can pressure Nerchio so much. Nerchio has to be so careful. This defense is not going to be easy, not even with those spine crawlers that he has in the main base. The Zealot's still going strong. Nerchio trying to move in. The force fields everywhere for Daisy.
Oh my god, those force fields go down, splitting up so much of Nerchio. The supply differences are evening up. Daisy on multiple fronts here, putting on so much aggression. He's force fielding off the ramp. The drones are coming off the line here. Nerchio knows he's in trouble. There is so much firepower for Daisy, but it's not letting up. Relentless throughout this entire game. Somebody wants to go GG!
Daisy takes game 1. Nerchio not able to defend against this onslaught of the Protoss player. What an aggressive opening here by the Kareem.
What? I am pulling the weirdest face right now, because honestly, that was just 0 to 100 from the very word go. Daisy constantly pushing, never letting up on the aggression, and Nerchio against that has to be riled.
Yeah, Nerchio in this situation definitely not too happy. This was just Daisy with full-on aggression the entire time, and you could see the Polish player talking to his teammate and the crowd. Give it up for your countryman, give it up for Nerchio. He needs your support here.
Guys, we'll send it over the analysis desk, and we'll be back in just a little bit for game number 2.
Incredibly strong play from Daisy.
Yeah,
some key moments. That Warp Prism with one hit point-ish.
Yeah.
One more shot from the Queen that would have shut that pressure down so much earlier. Would have seen a totally different game. Amazing play by Daisy.
It definitely looked like Nerchio could have defended that without too much trouble if he had just been able to kill the Warp Prism, because he was doing pretty good earlier. And then the additional gateways kicked in. Yeah, he added some extra gateways, and that really made a difference in terms of what he was able to warp in. But just the Warp Prism, the whole strategy seemed very well thought out, very well
solid.
executed.
He took a 3rd behind it. It's not like he was going all in. It could have
what?
been an...
No, he didn't take a 3rd.
Oh, I thought he took a 3rd behind that.
No.
Oh, okay.
That was a 2-base all-in.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he threw down the 3rd, but like it was a little bit irrelevant because he just did it because he had a lot of money.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay,
Daisy,
my bad then.
The first game I saw of him ever was in the TSL qualifier, in which he did this exact build on this exact same map. So now it all came back to me. And he basically opens with the Warp Prism, he puts some pressure on. He does not have to kill the opponent, but obviously you want to try to weaken the economy of your opponent, kill a couple drones. If you can kill like 10, this is always good. And then he follows this up with an Immortal all-in, but with +2 and Blink this time. And actually, he didn't do a bad job. I guess he didn't make that many probes, but his macro was just so good in the meantime. He kept on making pylons, and he got his upgrades going. So we see now he's about 109 supply against 116 for Nerchio. Nerchio, he has a lot of stuff happening in his production tab here, and I think moving out here is a mistake. We see this observer being able to see the infestors and roaches, and Daisy, he had a really good move to do here that was blinking and sniping those infestors, and that's exactly what he did. He caught a few of them immediately, and what this means is that there will be less fungals for the fight, and those sentries, they really need to be fungal by Nerchio for Nerchio to be able to win the fight. So now he's not going to have enough fungals to hold this. Daisy, he 57 army supply to 52, and I mean he can just reinforce. He's on to, he has up to 7 gates. He has a lot of money since he stopped making probes, and he's not. I guess he was expanding now, but maybe he wasn't macroing as well as he could have at this point in the game. But he had just had so much now, and like I said, the sentries here, he just has to draw a line of force field from top to bottom here, and that's exactly what he did. Nerchio was really backed into a corner here at his expansion, and he forgot macro hatch completely. Like he made it very, very late. During this entire attack, in his main, he didn't have macro hatch, he only threw it down at the end, and because of that now he started to have a whole bunch of money. And also Nerchio went back to droning while all of this was, after he held the initial attack.
I don't know. I don't see that.
What's that big
no,
red
I
dot?
I think that's a bunch of pylons in a circle.
Like
That's a big pylon?
It's a very big pylon. So he was taking a third behind it. I guess it didn't, like, it looked like a 2-base all-in, and it felt like a 2-base all-in because he didn't have anything close to the probes he would need to saturate that. And so he built the third, which, so I guess you were right, I'm sorry.
He only built a third because he had extra money. He had extra cash, you know, on hand. You might as well spend it, right? I would.
Yeah.
You would have put it in your opponent's base, because that's how manner you are. All right, the next map is Entombed Valley. What do you think we're going to see?
I pretty much explained before how it goes a lot of the time in Entombed Valley. We might see a quick third here from Daisy, but you know what? Actually going for the same strat is actually might be good as well, except I think this is the cross-map only version, so it wouldn't be as strong as if they were in close position.
Do you have a prediction?
Yeah, Nerchio. Nerchio's going to take this.
Yeah. I think if Nerchio doesn't take much damage in the early or mid game, he takes it in a late game. He will always take it.
All right. Well, the players are in game. We're ready to watch it. Kalaris and Kaldar, take it away.
We are ready as well. We are going live with the second game in just a few seconds. We have Nerchio down 1 game. He's up against Daisy, and Daisy has shown a very, very aggressive first game.
Just a bit. He had me astounded by the play in that first game. I was completely pushed over. That was, from the word go, it was just non-stop.
Nerchio talked to his teammate, he talked to Bly, they were talking about a potential strategy for map number 1. It is Entombed Valley. We are jumping into the game and starting to the bottom left. We have the Korean player. He's playing Protoss, he's playing in red. It is Daisy.
Spawning up to our top right-hand corner here as our blue Zerg. He's currently 1 game down. Poland, he needs your cheers. Give it up for Asa Nerchio. Oh, Daisy. Oh.
Well, he just scouted his opponent's main base, and he saw, of course, that there is already a drone heading out towards his own base. What Nerchio could do here, he actually heard that. Daisy.
Oh, Daisy. Oh.
All right, guys, come on, give it up for Daisy. Let him hear that as well.
Yeah.
Can you see that smile? And this is why Poland is awesome. You guys rock so much.
He loves Poland, guys.
And look at this, what we have on screen right now. Amongst all those cheers, we had Nerchio heading out and doing a very old school trick. A hedge cancel at his opponent's natural, going for the evolution chamber. A trick that I haven't seen in a long time, but this is amazing for Nerchio. We are on a version of Entombed where you always start cross positions. And Protoss players have been using this to scout their opponent's base early on, see exactly what's going on here. But on the other hand, Nerchio is suddenly the one who is able to block the expansion of Daisy for such a long time.
Yeah, and there's even the potential that if that probe does not pull back, he's going to pull back, then the Broodlings actually come out and try and nibble away at it.
Look at that, kind of even wasting another 2 shots on the Overlord because he was just passing by. And now their hatch goes down before we have a Nexus started. This is great for Nerchio. This is just such an incredible opening for him. Daisy did not expect it. He was trying to block it, but the hatch goes down for Nerchio. He cancels it. Bam, the creep is there. Drops the evolution chamber, lets it finish. And Daisy now with the expansion at 440.
Yep, and all in all, that really, really makes Daisy think, well, you know, I have to deal with all of this going on at home. He's gets those 3 bases almost completely for free. There's nothing really denying that. It's a really nice spot here for Nerchio.
Heavy supply block for Daisy at this point, starting this additional pylon very late. Usually at this point in time, you're close to finishing your Nexus, which guarantees the extra supply, but right now this is not the case. Nerchio heading into his second base already. The opening for him so far, very good. Getting those Overlords in position to see what kind of tech choice we will see from Daisy. And those Zerglings still around, biting away at the cybernetics core. The shields are gone, but for now, of course, he has to retreat.
They get a whole 8 damage worth of effectiveness gone on down on that cybernetics core. An impressive feat from 2 Zerglings. As for now, back at home, we do have Nerchio just droning up profusely here, gaining himself that little bit of momentum that he needs on a map like Entombed Valley, going up against a Protoss, where Protoss do feel pretty comfortable here. Once they get up to that 3rd base, you even see people in the European scene such as Hasuobs just positioning that initial cannon as close to the rocks as they can do, just to start working away at that as well, to go from 1 gate into 3 base expand.
You know what's really annoying for Daisy as well is this late Nexus is not only about the mining, it's about the ability to get those extra probes out.
Yeah.
So right now the +1 attack timing here, Nerchio with a creep spread, the 3 base that Galaus just mentioned for Daisy, usually very easy to take. This time it's going to be a little bit delayed, and we have Nerchio now in the lead with a Harvester supply. Daisy going up to 4 gates though with this.
Yeah, as for now, we will have Mr. Daisy heading over to his 3rd base location here, trying to have a little bit of a look around, see what's going on. And for now, I mean, he's banking on quite a few minerals, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if he wanted to go for that 4th base. We'll see, as we have a Roach Point now going down for Nerchio.
And also, Spine Crawler is currently being built. Nerchio just playing it safe at this point, hunting down the last few probes on the map, and there's the 3rd base for Daisy that we were expecting. 10 into there now for Nerchio, and he's in a great position. He has 3 bases, he's droning up at this point. We have him with a presence of 9 Zerglings on the map, just to be safe, hunting down those units. Doesn't have the speed yet though, which is why the Stalker can become a problem here.
Yeah, it can be, it can be. We do have the Stalker running away for now from those Zerglings here. Nerchio in hot pursuit, doesn't have the speed anywhere near finished, to be honest, to really hunt that down. But the second Stalker comes along to rendezvous. Nerchio, though, gets full confirmation on his opponent going for that quick 3rd base, and instantaneously starts 12 drones from there on.
These additional gates give Daisy, of course, a bit of a chance to be aggressive here, but at the same time, with Nerchio's creep spread, with his preparation, with everything that he lines up, he's in a very good position. He droned up heavily, he's now at 55, can go in further, which is exactly what he's going to do very soon. +1 attack upgrade, and you can really see that Nerchio is now moving back. He realizes, well, you have already quite a few gateways here. You're not only relying on the one that you built initially and taking your expansion, so you can actually pressure me. And that's what this pylon is for. As mentioned, Daisy now getting aggressive, and the rocks are still there between those 2 bases. With a few sentries, he could just completely take this 3rd base down, and even without them, he might be able to do it. It's going to take an eternity for Nerchio to just pass these rocks and defend his 3rd.
Well, that's one of the massive disadvantages of having to take a 3rd this early in this matchup on a map like this. Nerchio taking a lot of damage, was supposed to pull all of the drones from that 3rd location. Daisy assaulting with so much firepower here, and Nerchio, he saw the 3rd base, he was like, wow, I feel calm, I feel confident. confident, I feel so safe, but Daisy's putting so much pressure on behind it.
A great choice here. He moves up the second ramp, leaves 2 Zealots behind to take out the third, and he's pressuring Nerchio. Once again, the Polish player is forced to pull his drones off the line. We have the Roaches finally spawning, and he can at least take out the Zealots, but there are so many Stalkers. We have 10 Stalkers against 13 Roaches. He's trying to retreat here. The creep, of course, gives Nerchio an advantage even without the Roach speed done.
And during all of this, the Zealots take down the third base. So Nerchio just slightly down in terms of his production capabilities. Daisy's still putting on this aggression, absolutely relentless. Some Stalkers do end up dying off once again. Nerchio has a lot of Roaches here, and Daisy has to be very, very careful.
Daisy, on the other hand, on 3 bases. He has more harvests than his opponent. Nerchio moving in once again, using the creep to his advantage. His Roach speed isn't done yet, but Zergling's speed is completed. He's moving in, closing the gap, and numbing away at every single Stalker. Boom, they're gone. But the third base is down. Daisy is in a much better position with his economy. 3 bases against 2 and has more harvesters. Nerchio following things up with a Spire now.
A fantastic balance of macro and aggression here from Daisy in game number 2. It really shows that he's not just that kind of potential one-trick pony and going for constant aggression. He can easily transition on into that big macro game. And Nerchio, he's going to be forced to get his expansion up and running. He's going for the infestation pit as well. He's accounting for all eventualities of his opponent. Oh, and Daisy with that double forge play. This is where it can be really scary for a Zerg to deal with.
You know, the opening for Nerchio was great. He was able to block this expansion for so long, and Daisy just looking at it, he's like, well, if I build a couple of gateways in my main base, you won't see it coming, and this is what happened. Nerchio not prepared for the aggression, but now is Daisy ready for the counter-attack? We go into the forge is down, the upgrade won't complete. Here comes the round of warpins. The sentries are still there, trapping those Roaches. The Zealots at the front can still be targeted by the Roaches behind the force field, but there's just too much Daisy and not enough Nerchio.
Yeah, that was a nice pick off there from Nerchio to get that first forge. There's actually 2 more forges have started. Is that accurate? He has 2 more forges on the way. So I guess, well, third forge is coming down here for Daisy as he goes for hallucination as well. I love that option because on 3 bases right now without a robo facility, you need to know what your opponent is doing. He's investing a little bit of gas into those sentries. They're going to have a little bit of energy accruing themselves, which will be, spare for now, so he can use that for the Phoenix to just see exactly what Nerchio's up to.
And Nerchio is going into the hive. That's what he's up to. He's trying to go for the Greater Spire as fast as possible. Pathogen Glance is on the production tab. We don't see him with Infestors just yet. Full Chrono Boost energy here on the Nexus, and this is always one of the things that is really difficult to handle as a Protoss player. If you queue all your Nexi on one hotkey, which is usually the case, then if you try to spend your Chrono Boost energy, always the Nexus that is closest will be used for the Chrono Boost energy. Yep. So sometimes it can really work in a way that all your Nexi are really low, except for 1 or 2 that are still at full energy, wasting it away in some way. So it's really difficult to balance that out. And Daisy is actually using now, with a triple forge, not only the Chrono Boost energy, but also utilizing all 3 of them for the upgrades.
Exactly. This is something I've very rarely ever seen in this matchup. But there you go. Daisy is going to try and make it work out. I can't help but feel that this is just going to be a huge kind of 3-base push here with the Templar Archives going down as well. Going for those shield upgrades with that Templar Archives on the way means that those Archons are going to benefit quite heavily as well. And, Nerchio, he needs to scout out a little bit of a weird tangent here to this game.
6 additional gates. Daisy is gearing up. And Todd said it earlier when we analyzed a few of those PVCs. The time when you want to hit, ideally, is when your opponent is just morphing his Broodlords. That's when your army will be the strongest, when he has not a lot of supply that can fight because he's waiting for these Broodlords. It's the perfect timing. And Daisy is trying to hit it. He's going into +2 attack, +3 armor is being researched, charge nearly completed, +2 shields now, blinking and take down the Overseer. But at this point, is he really going to attack? It looks like he's going to claim his 4th and waiting for the late game scenario here.
Well, I guess it makes a lot of sense. Ooh, hold the phone here. Nerchio's going to try and push it. Denies the 4th base. Good force of a cancellation there. But blinks forwards, trying to find an opportunity to put on some pressure. But it makes sense. 3 forge play, Chrono boosting out upgrades. If you get to 3-3-3 before your opponent has some really good upgrades, it's really committing to the late game, I guess.
He at this point doesn't have Colossi, so that's of course always is one of the things that he has to deal with. He does now get the first few Archons, but it gives Nerchio really the time to go into the Broodlord. So Daisy not trying to hit the timing with those upgrades that he has, and he has a huge upgrade advantage already at this point. We are currently looking at the Protoss player with +2/+2 and +1 shields with those 3 upgrades currently being researched, while our Zerg player is very, very low on them. He doesn't have a single upgrade for his roaches, only +2 melee attack. So this is very difficult for Nerchio, and Daisy knows this. He's moving in now.
Yeah, if he's allowed to get to 3-2-3 before any big engagements occur, then that is going to be catastrophic for Nerchio. It depends on the engagement itself, but there you go. Nerchio being forced away from his 4th base here. Yeah. Really, really nice damage by Daisy.
A very good decision by Nerchio as well. Very good decision making. Looking at this position of his opponent, looking at the army and realizing I can't hold that. If I commit now, I will most likely lose everything. So he waits for additional Broodlords, waits until he gets his army out, and takes the stand at the space. And 4-1 blink by Daisy, trying to take him down. Those Broodlords still in a good position. The Zerglings running in as soon as the second offensive blink happens, and also the Fungal's going down. Nerchio fighting like a lion, but Daisy with round after round of attacks.
Yeah, he's going to blink forwards once again, trying to bring down one of those Broodlords. There's only 4 left in the fray here. Those Stalkers just do not die with these upgrades right now, as he does blink forward, still killing off the remainder. There's no Broodlords left at all. 4 Infestors, 15 Roaches, and 2 Zerglings to try and combat against this army. More rounds of Warpins come in from Daisy, and Daisy is closing the supply gap very, very quickly.
And Nerchio once again doesn't have the lava. He's at 1,600 minerals, but he doesn't have any lava available. He cannot remax his army, even though he has the resources. And still, at the supply, we are still even. But just look at this game. We have 50 army supply for Daisy, 29 for Nerchio, and the Protoss player, he just doesn't stop.
He just doesn't add all those Archons. GG for game number 2.
Nerchio with problems here in his macro. This is a problem that he faced yesterday. He could not use those resources. He couldn't max out again. What a series. And I feel with Lava, I feel he could have pushed Daisy back at this point.
I'm curious, did he have a macro hatch in his main?
I think he had only one, but either it's hitting the injects or him just not realizing that he will need another macro hatch. Daisy with such great upgrades in the last fight. His advantage in the upgrades was incredible. It was insane.
It's just something that doesn't happen too often in this matchup. You just don't account for that as a Zerg player in today's current meta game. So Nerchio going into game number 3, he has a tall mountain to climb. Will he be able to execute?
A triple forge here for Daisy and Nerchio. This ends up in a situation where he has to win 3 games in a row. He's the last Polish player in the tournament. Let's hear what the analysis desk has to say about game 2 in Entombed Valley. Back to Jared and his boys.
Daisy is so good, and he's winning fans here. I thought that was hilarious with the TT.
I really like the chat.
And what a testament to how cool this crowd is that they would actually cheer that for him and make him feel so good. Very, very cool. I actually think this might be the coolest crowd I've ever seen. Maybe not the biggest, but the coolest crowd of all time. Poland rocks, man. So do those girls in cosplay. All right, let's talk about the game. Ultra aggressive, unstoppable.
Daisy, his build was so refined and so nice that I think as soon as like today's games are over, I'm just gonna go ladder and hope I get Zerg on Entombed. Because seriously, like he takes the quick third, but he throws down a lot of gates without too many gases. So he goes very Zealot Stalker heavy, so like not many sentries. And basically, he just tries to weaken, as always, the economy of his opponent as much as possible. And he did way more than that. He killed a third. He killed a bunch of drones. He killed a lot of units as well. As a Protoss, if you have a 3rd base up and the Zerg is on 2 bases, you pretty much already won, you know? So we can jump into the replay here and see how Daisy followed this up with a huge timing on the 4th base of Nerchio here, with basically ridiculous upgrades. He's 2-1-2 right now. He has 3 attack upgrade on the way, 3 armor as well. And this is actually, he's gonna get the armor at least, actually I guess in the middle of the fight. But I mean, he just has so much army here, and he can just reinforce. He was on 12 gates at this point. 12 gates, so he can watch 12 Stalkers at the time. Nerchio trying as hard as he can to hold on here, but he did not have nearly enough Infestors to hold, I feel. Maybe if he had like 14 Infestors here, he would have had a chance with some Great Fungal and Infested Terrans, but I mean, after he lost all the spans here, it looked like Nerchio would have no chance in this fight, and that's pretty much what happened. Those units did not die. As Kelaris mentioned, the Stalkers being able to blink forwards and snipe all of the Broodlords. Nerchio lost everything and the game. Nerchio is going to have to make something happen, play really a lot better than he has been until now if he wants to be able to take the win against Daisy in this series, I feel. Do you know the next map?
Yeah, the next map is Cloud Kingdom.
Okay. I feel good for Daisy. This is definitely one of the maps where Protoss does not feel too uncomfortable playing against Zerg, I have to say, and it fits Daisy's style too. He can pretty much play any style he wants. He likes to play aggressive. This is one of the maps where really it's not going to be easy to defend for Nerchio, so...
Well, I also heard that there are now over 3,000 people outside of the venue in the snow watching this on the big screen. There are a squad of 10 police cars that had to be called in to help corral them and contain them. It's getting out of control.
We need another stadium.
It's a memorable esports event. Wow, esports, man. Can I do this? Do I do that okay?
Yeah,
esports.
It's just like this.
All right, the players are in the game. We're ready to go over. Take it away, casters.
At the analysis desk, I don't think my heart can actually bear this series any longer. Daisy is showing phenomenal play here, and as you said, the last Polish player is on the verge of going out.
Yeah, he is already down 2 games. He has to win the next 3, and as mentioned, Cloud Kingdom is not an easy map for a Zerg player. Well, at least it's a good map for a Protoss. It's one of those maps that Hero, for example, will always choose against a Zerg if he's down 1 game in the series. Nerchio has to find an angle here. Will he pull it off, though? We are going to find out right now. The game is live. Let's see what Nerchio's plan is in game number 3.
Yep. As in just a second, we'll jump right on in. So spawning up to our top right-hand corner here, guys. As our blue Protoss. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for ESC Daisy.
In Dragon Ball, we would now talk about the Spirit Bomb. He needs your support. He's down 2 maps. Everything that you can master now, he needs it because he has to win 3 games in a row. This is the first one. Starting to the bottom left, it's Asus Nerchio!
If ever he needed that, he needs it right now. So Nerchio here on Cloud Kingdom, trying to get rid of this probe as best he can do whilst we have Daisy opening up in a very, very standard fashion to kick things off.
Nerchio is a player that can be affected by being down 2 games in this series. And if you just think about what we talked in game number 1, so far, every single time he faced Daisy in one of these big tournaments, he won. He took him out with a 2-1. In the qualifier for the IEM here, he was able to take the best of 3 as well. But right now, he's down 2 games already. He has to look at this and he's like, okay, what has happened? And we talked about him, Daisy, training a lot in custom games right now, completely forfeiting the ladder matches because he says, I can get more out of custom games. I want to prepare for my opponents, for their strategies, for their play styles. And he has shown us such an aggressive style in those 2 games. Is Nerchio able to handle this in game 3?
And actually, I mean, so going off on a slight tangent here, I was talking to a very famous NA Zerg player last night about potential practice partners, and they were saying, well, I've got some very, very good practice partners in the form of people like Daisy, and I was like, Daisy, he's pretty good. He's in the European scene. He does all right versus Zerg, but geez, now after seeing these games, he is insane. He is on fire, and he brings such an interesting flair to this matchup that is almost unparalleled in the foreign scene.
He is definitely on a roll against Zerg now. Just think about it. He didn't drop a single map against Zerg in this tournament so far. He won, I think, 8 maps in a row against Zerg players at this point. So he sees this 3rd base of his opponent. He has the scout out on the map. We have him with a +1 attack upgrade. Once again, started very, very early. He had the double gas in the main base. A lot of gas for him already. Dropping a pylon to the top right. can hide a Stargate tech there later on if he wants to. Stargate a good opening for this map, but he can also head into a third base, Robo Twilight, and go for an Immortal Push. There are so many options for a Protoss player on this map. And Nerchio, he has to do what he usually does best. He has to find out what's going on and prepare. So far, he had a lot of problems with that.
And one interesting aspect to the opening of this is that Daisy, going for that +1 as he is, he knows that his opponent sees this. He has to account for the fact that that Overlord is there, sees that weapons upgrade going down, and he has to make choices based on the fact that he sees that. So will Daisy just go for a straight all-in with this Robo facility, or will he tend to deviate?
And you know, he shows now the third gas to Nerchio. The Overlord that you mentioned, so important, because of course he knows the Overlord is there. And he shows the third gas. So at this point, Nerchio also has to wonder, do you have 3 gases? Do you have 4? Do I set my Overlord in to find out what exactly you are doing?
Yeah, and you know the way those 2 pylons are placed in the base, he's actually, I think he's just going to make a straight line of gateways all the way down. It makes it so hard to actually scout out this eventuality. He adds the 3 on up there, he can go for maybe the Warp Prism if he wants to, with that aggression, with the +4, and then adds on a ton more gateways for that +2 base attack.
With the timing that we have, it is the Warp Prism again, the gateways are there, we don't see the Robo before the upgrade, not going for the Immortal Push here, no, it's once more the Warp Prism. Going for the Warp Prism with the 4 gates behind it. Nerchio at this point taking 4 gases. He will be up to 6 gases. A lot for him here. He's at 69 supply. Let's have a quick look at his drone count. He's currently at 51, droning up again, going up to nearly 60. And now he needs to start to prepare a little bit. He doesn't have a lot of units out there. Just a few Zerglings to scout what's going on. His lair tech is nearly completed. But he also doesn't have a Roachborn. At 8 minutes into the game, no Roachborn, completely relying on the Zerglings, and this is Zerglings without upgrades at all.
And he's going to go for a Spire here. He instantaneously needs to start an Overseer right now that the layer is finished up. He needs to know that all of this is going on in his opponent's base, because those pylons are so effectively positioned that the extremities are so hard for Nerchio to actually scout out, but Daisy has been spotted with these Zerglings.
Yeah, he has been spotted, and Nerchio reacts right away. He already has a few Spinecrawlers building. He wants to hit his opponent now with this tech. He's shown it against Korean Protoss players in the past. Now here come the Zerglings, he needs those. And here are those few Zealots that we talked about. Another round of Warp-ins. This reminds me already of game number 1, but the Queens are there, the Zerglings as well. They don't have upgrades at all. The Spire is only halfway done. Daisy has a great timing here. And if the Protoss player gets in range of the ramp, there will be a force field. But with those 3 Spinecrawlers finishing up, Nerchio is now in a spot where he can at least make sure that this is not going to happen.
Oh, he did a good job with the sentries, actually finding a position to actually deny the Queens from putting some damage onto that Warp Prism, but he's trying to get at it, but he just can't. There's so many Zealots here.
Look at this army.
It's catastrophic for Nerchio at this point. He needs to deal with it, but he pins the Queens up against the layer. Right now, even a few more Spinecrawlers under assault. So many drones could potentially die off, as well as all the production, because the Queens are dying, and he does not get the Warp Prism once again.
Not at all. Daisy circumvents those Spinecrawlers, goes into the main base with the Warp Prism, has those Zealots already on the ramp, and now he warps in round after round. Nerchio is in a position. Even those 6 Mutalisks, what are they going to do? The only thing that Daisy will do when he sees that he's going to warp in additional Stalkers, that's all that he has to do here. He's taking down everything. Everything is wide open in the main base. The Spinecrawlers are gone. He's going straight for the lair. Nerchio is in such a dire spot at this point. It is horrible for him. Can Nerchio take down the Warp Prism? It doesn't even look like it.
The one saving grace of Nerchio during all of that was the fact that Daisy, whilst going up the ramp with his Zealots, did not see the Spire. He only saw the Mutalisks once they popped, so he constantly warped in Zealots from that point on, did not make any more Stalkers, but even these Stalkers themselves are causing Nerchio so many problems.
Nerchio bought himself some time. He killed the Warp Prism.
GG, well played, guys.
GG is out of the game. With a message to his Polish fans, this was too much damage done. Yes, the Warp Prism is dead. The attack for now is slowed down, and Daisy would have mustered another attack, but look at this. Look at Daisy here. What an amazing play by the Protoss player. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Daisy.
Guys, commiserations to our loser here, but still, not too bad at run a tournament. Give it up for Nerchio.
Nerchio, unfortunately, not with a single map win. Daisy continuing his dominant PvZ run on this tournament. We have him now with 9 games won in a row against Zerg players. This guy is incredible. What aggression. He has the timings down cold. Unfortunately, all the Polish players now out of the tournament, but let's have a quick look at the analysis desk and let's hear why this happened and how it happened from Jared, Todd, and QXC.
Daisy is winning games and he's winning fans. He thinks about Broodlords and he says, you're never going to get them because I'm so hyper aggressive. I mean, the next time someone complains to me about Zerg just dominating Protoss, I'm just going to show him these VODs and say, maybe it's the way you play, man. Because this guy,
Good point.
he is not afraid of Zerg at all.
Yeah.
He just
Zerg should be afraid of him because he just attacks and he makes it work. And to be honest, I really feel like Nerchio kind of wasted this last opportunity to come back in this match with going with such a greedy build. When you play against somebody who plays really aggressive like Daisy, you either choose to play more aggressive or you defend. And Nerchio did neither in this game. He did kind of a gamble build where he was hoping that Daisy would try to take a third and then he would get enough mutas to start flying around, do damage, and then lead the game from there. But he did not nearly have enough spines to defend. He did not have them on time. Everything went wrong for Nerchio, and Daisy, he just sealed the deal in this series.
Very well played by Daisy there.
Unbelievable. Well, I mean, I guess we'll cut to a commercial break before we come back to our next game. The last of our first round of the round of 12.
Yep.
A weird division.
I believe it's Grubby Yoda.
Yeah, it is Grubby Yoda.
Yeah.
You were right.
That's
Big
gonna
match.
be a
And I'm
sick
so excited for this
Yeah.
because PVT is my favorite matchup. Grubby's one of my favorite players. And I'm going to cheer pretty hard. My voice is already going, and it might be gone after this one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.